Right. That put on Tuesday about the Air Force, I think one other agency, we all assembled here, took all the samples, all their measurements, and because of the risks of the excavators that were going to be going over, falling inside of it. So after they took the samples and we were able to get some information, we got chargers as part of the entire disaster. So we had about 50-meter radius from the epicenter, scouted around with their bomb disposal and stuff. And once they gave the all clear, we moved in for the search and rescue. Unfortunately, on that day, we were able to pick up a few body parts. We also were told about a woman who came out wanting to rescue her mistress. Unfortunately, the mistress was in the house, was taken to UC, which was removed. So those were the two that were picked up. But then there were 3 fatalities at that time that were picked. But on the Tuesday night, we had 3 fatalities. A gentleman came from England to check his mother's house. He came to help people. If you had stayed in the house, probably was realized. But God he was involved in the past. Another woman had an impairment because so those 3 were identified. The 3 of them identified that day. But subsequently, that was the next day, Wednesday, then picked up. On Thursday, we found a woman because we had to wait for the safety of the medical staff. The Red Cross, because the man who was standing out and was in the blast, his body parts we think was all picked. We decided to extend the search inside. And of course, we still found some of his body parts inside. So that's the only structure that will touch technically. So everything on ground zero has been built down. But the opposite structures were completely damaged. Can I have my that big sample? So the Nigerian Society of Engineers came up with the drawings. From the epicenter, they had 50-meter buffer, they had 100. So I spoke with His Excellency, who allowed them permission to extend to 500-meter buffer to check the structures. Unfortunately, within a 100-meter buffer, almost all the structures are many of them have not passed the integrity test. And so the first day we had 6 sets of structural engineers. The next day we had about 10. And I think today we have about 12 sets. And they're going around the houses with security operatives to meet the owners of the houses far away from here. Those ones are, the houses are relatively stable, but we still need people to go in there and check. And so this is concluding hopefully today. The geologists, there's a society of mining, so they came in today because they had to get ground zero clear before they can come in. So they've been measuring the seismic wavelength, which is actually responsible for the damage that was done to my hospital, UCH. So all the shaking, and we don't know the extent. The only thing we thank God for was that it did not happen at 9 p.m. It was 1 hour after people had returned, and it was those who raised the alarm and screamed and made people to run out. Most of the structures, there was only 2 people were impaled in the structures. Those who picked that same day were black, they suspended black.
Most of the structures were empty.
They were completely empty.
Plenty outside landlords.
Yes. Most of them are elderly people who are living outside the country, maybe outside the place that rented the property. But opposite them, all the structures there are very deficient. Which are tested. They've been tested. That's across, all the way across the street. And so we're afraid that up to 100-meter buffer, most of the structures will have failed integrity test.
And what minimized the casualty, like Prophet said?
Yeah, they came. came on Wednesday, and we got all the samples and yes. Any narrow brought their meters to it was background.
And to make sure that we also comply with disaster management policy, international talks.
It's unfortunate to see. I was with the president when
The call to we are the president of the last
discussing the issue.
Reporting.
People will talk there. You will imagine that even in an environment like this, if there is suspicion of some untoward things, activities going on, you don't need to go and telling people. The people around here know what to do. They have enough clout, the network, to reach access to the authorities. So that is a personal shock to me that this could be happened here for years. And that speaks to our own sense of consciousness of our environment as Nigerians at large. It applies to all of us. We need to be safety conscious. We need to develop this attitude of reporting. The federal government is awaiting the final report, forensic investigation that's gone on or that is still going on. It will be presumptuous and precipitate for the federal government to make any solid pronouncement or categorical pronouncement on this until we have examined all the forensic analysis reports, all the investigations from all the agencies, the security agencies, the Mines Inspectorate Division of the Ministry of Solid Minerals, and the intelligence arms of the various intelligence arms of the security agencies. They are all working around the clock to ensure that there is an authentic and verifiable forensic report to the federal government. Then the federal government will be on a solid platform to make an informed judgment and a categorical statement. Anything before then will be presumptuous, will be precipitate, and could be misleading at the end of the day. We don't operate like that. We've been working with the security agencies even before this unfortunate incident. I don't know how far you are very conversant with the media, but if you are, you would have been following my activities, my various meetings with all the security agencies, all the ministers responsible for the security agencies. And only last week, the president set up a committee on security for our natural resources, which I'm chairing, and we held a meeting in my office, which was one of the reasons, I wasn't here that very day, because it was after the Federal Executive Council that committee was raised, and we moved to my office and started work, and we're having another expanded meeting this very week, in a few days' time, with the critical security agencies, all the security agencies and heads of the security agencies involved. Prior to all of this, we've been mapping out strategies. It's also part of my 7-point agenda, which I rolled out a couple of months or so ago, about securing our natural resources, especially that which is within my purview, which is solid minerals. If you followed my budget defense at the House of Reps or the Senate, I did say categorically to the whole world that powerful Nigerians are behind the banditry associated with illegal mining in this country. I said it openly there. Of course, I since received threats, but we are undaunted because these things have to be said. And in any case, I wasn't saying anything new anyway. Most people knew, most people had been saying it. I only gave it an official stamp and it is based on intelligence report. So there's a lot of connivance along and among the strata of the society, both high, medium, low. It's not exclusive preserve of just the high ups. No. It cuts across the strata of the society. So this is really a societal problem. And I did say at that meeting, at the budgetary defense, that we were employing both kinetic and non-kinetic strategies and tactics to combine all of this. The details I won't be able to go through with you publicly now, because that is also will be unstrategic. So just let's leave it at that. The federal government is working in concert with all the critical stakeholders, states, local governments, host communities. Because at the end of the day, whatever security outfit you come up with would have to involve the host communities, people on ground who have very efficient knowledge of the local terrain. You can't do without them. And one of the things that happen now, even in the forest, unknown to many people, is that these bandits, being sponsored by highly placed people, have access to funding, heavy funding, and they have arsenal, heavy arsenal, weaponry, arms and ammunition. And they even lay mines on the ground against those our ground forces that are moving into the forest to dislodge them. So that is why we require the presence, involvement or engagement of the military. And that's why I've been meeting with the Minister of Defense, and we mapped out all the strategies so that the military will go in first and clear them and the mines. Then before the new security outfit that we are rejigging at the moment will come into the fore. Thank you. Will be part, all of that will be part of the report. I did say that no government will make any precipitous or precipitate or presumptuous announcements or categorical statements without actually being privy to all the intricacies, the dynamics surrounding the incident. It's when what you have just asked will be part of it. And when everything is assessed, then judgments will be made, and the categorical statements from either the federal, the state, or whatever authority involved will come out. But I can assure you that justice will be done. I assume that you will know what we call the constitutional provisions and limitations of every tier of government. Minerals licensing is the exclusive preserve of the federal government because it is in the exclusive legislative list. So the federal government is in charge of licensing. Except the constitution is changed tonight or tomorrow, then we abide by it. But as of today, as we are speaking here, minerals licensing is in the exclusive legislative list, which means the exclusive preserve of the federal government. Now there is the residual list. Everything on the residual list belongs to the state. And there's the third, which is called the concurrent. And those are things that... Nexus. Yes, that's where the nexus is. To pay a courtesy call on the governor, who has done a yeoman's job, who has done very commendably in terms of the speed of his response to this unfortunate incident. You recall that I told you that the president put a phone call to him to commend him, to sympathize with him and the people of Oyo State and the victims, and also issued a statement thereafter stating this, expressing the same sentiments, and I also did. And so this is a culmination of the establishment of acknowledgement of the federal government on what the Oyo State governor and government has done. And this is very remarkable. The president is very impressed. We are all impressed. And we wish, nobody wishes any disaster, but we wish that our people will respond, commendably to any unfortunate situation, or not even unfortunate, any situation at all. And on our own part, of course, we immediately swung into action. But like I keep saying, we also would allow the investigating agencies the various agencies, technical and intelligence agencies, to conclude their forensic investigation before we make any categorical and verifiable, authentic statement on the issue. Because it is a technical thing and it requires a lot of technological gadgets and apparatus, you can't put a time frame on that. But I can assure you, in terms of the speed with which they have started and are going about it, it will be shorter than you think. But of course, we are not going to sit on it. This is not the kind of report that anybody will sit on, and this is not the kind of government that will sit on any panel's report or any investigative analysis. It will be public document, and you'll be kept abreast of it.
From the team carrying out the structural integrity test, but the bottom line is first, we need to extend the temporary accommodation given to people. We also need to ensure that the place stays secured. All the forensic pathologists, the work they are doing, we have to encourage them to continue. But there's still a lot to be done. I don't think we've faced this kind of calamity around here. So the people should be patient with us. We're doing everything within the powers of the government here to ensure that people actually get looked after.
Thank you.